in July of 1997. I had a spontaneous and what you would describe as highly aroused transition into persistent non-symbolic experience. And I tried everything. As a scientist, I was like, okay, now what do I do to figure out what's going on? I got all kinds of advice. I read everything you can read, an insatiable curiosity. I began meditating. I tried all kinds of meditation. An hour a day was normal and for a long time. And I think I'd probably exhausted most resources in terms of things I might be able to do, and I heard about the course. So I thought I was coming into the course so that I could experience non-symbolic awareness, only to find out that I had had it this whole time. For me, that was fascinating. What the course allowed me to do is settle into it, grounding in a very nice way, a very balanced way. And you know what, for me as a scientist, maybe the most important thing was it gave me context. It gave me a language that I'm comfortable with, objective observation, data. I love data that I can make sense of. And so I began to fit it into that other part of my life, the science part of my life. And it all made sense. So for the first time in my life, I didn't have to come up with woo-woo explanations of what happened or talk about, well, I had a mystical experience, but instead I could talk about it in clinical terms that I was really comfortable with. My husband's also a scientist, and it made sense to him as well. As a matter of fact, he's going to take the course this summer. And that is probably, gosh, I think that's like the most important thing that I could get out of the course, is really that understanding. And then on top of it, I learned that not only can I settle into it and make sense out of it from the scientific part of me, but I had the ability to move around on the continuum, and I had a choice. I could decide where I wanted to be, practice in very specific ways, and I could go there. And it was predictable. Nothing spontaneous was going to happen, when I wasn't prepared for it. So right now, I like where I am. And a lot of the other things that you talked about in your book, which actually helped me a lot as well, it all fit together. It makes perfect sense to me from a scientific perspective. Even the bias that individuals have that are in different places on the continuum, because I've been in some different places, and I can actually kind of go there and go, I know that bias. Absolutely, I completely get it. And I also, the other insight, and I just had this the other day, because I think about this stuff a lot, the ability to do that, to know and kind of go back to where you were in different places in the continuum, and how you thought and how you felt in those, and then to be able to see them all at the same time. And I think about Ken Wilber, and I think about the whole integral framework. I guess that's what being integral is about, to be able to hold each of them in some type of a balanced but dynamic tension and move back and forth. It's fascinating. We have to communicate these things, and we have to use words, and I have to use that, the personal pronoun, but I refer to it as the I, the two big capital I's. It's that I. It's a different I. But it's still an I.
When you were experiencing no fear of death, which of course is common with ongoing and persistent non-symbolic experience, but you were still dealing with a very serious physical condition, did you have fear and anxiety and emotions like that you could feel sort of coming up in your body? Or was the whole time it just, everything is okay? And
there were times that it was even ecstatic. I really didn't have the fear. And people would tell me I was in denial. And I didn't think I was. I said, I don't think so. I'm not denying anything. I completely understand that I may die. Telling my husband, if anything, actually, if I don't get through this, you're young. You're a nice guy. Find somebody else. She needs a mother. You need a wife. And he goes, just stop that. I'm being practical here. I'm just like, we just have to be practical about it. But no, I really didn't. I somehow just knew. I had been one with the universe. Once you have that kind of an experience, there's nothing but I'm okay. I will be fine no matter what happens. This course has given me all of that, the ability to stabilize myself in a really nice place, to understand scientifically where I am and what it is, how it fits in from that perspective, and to meet and talk with intelligent people who can have that conversation at this level. We're talking about data, we're talking about empirical observation, and also the amazing thing is that we understand the implications of this. That's incredible. I mean, being angels dancing at the head of a pin and talking about molecules, when in reality, this is the biggest question. That's why most people are doing science, to understand the big pictures, the hard problem. And the other fascinating thing was that I spoke often twice a week with my group. much all of them. Some of them, a few of them went through the classic awakening experience. I mean, they had the dreams that only Freud could make up or Jung. And so that was fascinating to be able to witness it for them at the same time. I mean, I think it was just all of those things coming together and allowing my intellectual as well as my I. For the first time in my life, everything was in symphony. I think that's really the equation for somebody like me, who really does have to have the scientific part work as well. Here's another change for me in the course. Early on, before I came here, I did want to teach. I did want to impart this experience that I had, and it was just to let people know, wow, you aren't alone, actually, and there's something much bigger. Now I don't have any desire to do that at all. I'm just completely okay with the way I am, absolutely gratitude that I'm here, and I could be just fine not telling very many people at all. A handful of people that have been through it, have the experience, have all this perspective is really all I need. And I would be very uncomfortable being put into a teacher type of setting because it's such a wonderful place to be. You know, I realized how my husband Ken, who's a whole other story. I think he's pretty much non-symbolic too. He had his own experiences, but we just live this life together in the present pretty much, even though we're scientists and we're very functional, both of us. We had a friend over who specializes, who's very well known in helping couples. And we were talking, and I just said, well, you know, neither of us have much of a little I, and we're living pretty much in the present moment. So something comes up, we talk about it, 2 minutes later, it's over, it's gone. I never think about it again. And he said, that's really it. That is the secret of having a strong partnership. No insecurity and living in the present moment with the intent of being together without in any way being dependent on each other. It's actually a perfect recipe for people who are having any type of interpersonal challenge. And I did it, you know, before. It was to teach. It was to kind of impart some type of, you know, wow, I know all this. You know, people should know it. Now it's like, well, actually, I'm cool. I'm just happy the way that life is. And to be here moment to moment, you know, is so fascinating. And to have these other interactions, my daughter, who's 24 now, my stepdaughter, who's 40, and they have, you know, their amazing drama, interpersonal dramas, and I can watch it and go, wow, I'm hearing them tell me something. And I wonder what thought evoked that emotion, because that connection is just, of course, if you didn't have that thought, that emotion wouldn't be coming up. I guess I'll use the word detached. I don't feel detached. I don't feel isolated and, you know, like I'm keeping I don't feel any of that. But it's just that I'm not enmeshed in any way. Just kind of curious, you know, and watching it all. Fascinating. Here's another part of the course I read, the eraser method. I mean, it's so powerful to just get rid of all that conditioning and to be, I mean, often I would see it like lifting out of my tissue almost like a cloud and float away. And that's it, exactly. Even when something hits me, two things happen. One is, the first time it hits me, it might be intense, but it doesn't take but a few seconds for it to disappear. The other issue is that I can actually feel it in a place in my body, often in my heart. A literal heart sense, oh, it's right there. And then so I can then go, oh, it's in my heart. It kind of starts swirling, and then it just kind of like swirls out of there. It's amazing to have that kind of awareness of my physical body. It's almost as if that conditioning, it's holding parts of us, is like holding us prisoner. And if you think about them as invisible ties, and then this one goes away and that one goes away, and this piece can just float over here, and it's amazing to experience that. And then to just kind of watch it go. It's not my thought, it's the thought. And it's gone. Good, I didn't like that one anyway. It's a wonderful place to be. It just is. I still have that, and I've always had that. Maybe it's the entrepreneurial part of me, of that, yeah, well, if you're going to do something that's important and change the world. Why not?
Exactly.
And I can't imagine anything that would qualify more than this. And I think a lot of other people feel that way too.